Participants back to the session. Uh, let's continue our discussion on the topic online and e-learning. Just in the first session, part of the session, we understand the importance of e-learning and various approaches to e-learning and also the methods. In continuation to that, now let's look at this slide where we understand the traditional versus e-learning methods. When it comes to a classroom, how the traditional classroom is constrained and how e-learning platform overcome such a constraint. Now, when it comes to the classroom, in a physical or in a traditional classroom environment, the classroom is limited size and it's synchronous. That's one of the limitation. Because if the number of participants are more than 60, the physical space may not sufficient enough to accommodate all 60 or 100 as such. And it has to happen in synchronous mode only, as we already understood what is synchronous way of delivering a lecture. So the teacher is there, the participants are there, and everything happens in real time, face to face. That's what synchronous. But when it comes to e-learning platform or environment, the physical size is not at all a scene. It's unlimited. Any number of participants can join, right? With a Google Meet, we can go up to 1,000 participants. So 1,000 participants sitting at their home or office with their laptop or a smart device can listen to a lecture. That's unlimited, anywhere and anytime. Okay, so anyway, but when it comes to synchronous, it's not anytime because it should be a real time. But if it's an asynchronous, then it can be anytime. But again, in synchronous mode, it can be anywhere, right? Whether you are at office or at home or wherever you are, you can attend. So that's what is the difference between the traditional classroom and e-learning classroom. But when it comes to the content, in traditional classroom, we normally use PowerPoint, transparency, etc., which we are all familiar. But in e-learning class or environment, apart from this, we can use a multimedia and simulation. Many of you are already familiar with your sessions. I don't know how many of you are delivering a lecture with multimedia content on simulation. I believe today, now it has become common. You might have experienced it. Okay, so multimedia or simulation. In a traditional classroom, we use textbooks and we say physical library. But e-learning classroom or environment, we call it as a digital library. Okay, digital library. Whatever you want, you can get it in a digitized form and that you can use it for learning. Again, in traditional classroom, we can speak about a video, but same thing could also be done in e-learning, but on demand. But again, in physical classroom, we can think of a collaboration, and e-learning environment, we have a collaboration as well. Synchronous and asynchronous communication is also possible. So this is how we can compare and contrast between traditional and e-learning methods. But when it comes to a personalization, in case of a traditional classroom, it is a one learning path. But in case of e-learning environment, it can be a learning path and pace can be determined by the learner. Okay, so if a learner has registered for many courses online, he can choose which online class he has to attend and which he has to study based on his interest and convenience and the pace. But that is not possible with a traditional classroom environment. So that's how we can compare the traditional and e-learning methods. So in continuation to this, if at all we want to put it in a very, very precise way, the traditional learning, e-learning comparison. The traditional learning is a teacher-centered, where e-learning is a student-centered. In traditional learning is a single media, but in e-learning it's a multimedia. Traditional learning, isolated work. e-learning, collaborative work. In traditional learning, it's an information delivery, but in e-learning, it's an information exchange. A factual-based learning is skill-based learning. Bricks and board technology enable learning, push approach and a pull approach. So this we need to understand. So in fact, this comparison will speaks about the benefits of e-learning. It doesn't mean that it's not our limitations, but we can minimize the limitations or disadvantages, but we can maximize the advantages. Okay, so that's what is the comparison. So having understood these things, now let's look at to one more level of depth, the e-learning process. If at all you want to offer such an e-learning course to your students, let us assume that you are an expertise with a lot of skills on a particular topic, maybe law, economics, chemistry, mathematics, anything as such. So if at all you want to deliver content to the wide variety of audiences or a community, so then how you can design an e-learning process? Forget about the technical aspects of it. There is a software developer who can help you to develop, but prior to that development, there should be a planning, right? How you can design your content and which content is relevant to what level of students, and which how much of details or depth need to be delivered, what is relevant, not relevant. So all these things you have to decide as an expert, and then you have to design e-learning content. So we call it as an e-learning process. So the the government of India or UGC, right, has insisted the faculties in postgraduate departments as well as in graduate departments, so they can offer a course under SWAYAM platform in the name of MOOCs, massive open online courses, and they can fund you. You can prepare a content and you can deliver a course online. You can expect the participants all over the country, so you can give the best to the students as per your expertise on a particular topic. So that's what is the idea, and that is already there in many universities, and many faculties have taken up that, and they are now very successful and they are conducting it as well. So in this context, let's understand what is the e-learning process. A successful e-learning organizations use ADDIE process. Let's see what is that ADDIE. Developing an e-learning course, the acronym stands for analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. So if at all you want to offer a course online or in e-learning platform or SWAYAM platform, what are the things we must know? So here the first is the analysis. If you want to offer a course on mathematics, on a particular topic, or on economics, right, on particular topics like GST, etc. So you should know the target audience whom you are developing or to whom you are offering a course, whether you are offering a course for undergraduate program or a postgraduate program, or for a research program, or for a 10+2 level. So you should analyze, you should understand, analyze their requirement, their granularity, right, and their relevancy. Accordingly, you have to plan the course. Okay, even the time is also a matter there. So once it has been analyzed, then we have to go with the design. It's as good as you are writing a textbook. Let us assume that you want to write a textbook on the subject of your interest. How do you are writing a textbook? The same process you are going to follow here, right? First, you have to analyze on the topic of the textbook. You have to prepare the table of contents, right? And once you analyze that, then you have to arrive at the table of content, and the table of content is nothing but the design. Okay, what are all the chapters, what content need to be presented in each chapter, what should be the organization of the textbook. Okay, so what visualizations or analysis, observations, everything, right? You should understood, analyze, and then design accordingly. So once it is done, then you go with the development. So development means you have written, you have analyzed all these things and you have designed the table of contents. Then you are going to put it in a proper format, because you want to print a textbook, or a publisher wants to come out with the textbook under your authorship. So that's what is called the development, right? So what are all that is necessary that need to be prepared, and finally you have to implement it, right? Means the course is offered online, means the textbook is released, then you have to evaluate. So a reader reads the textbook and he can raise a comment on that. It's a very good textbook, the content is more appropriate, we could understand all the theoretical aspects, or the theoretical aspects are supported with the good illustrations. A student who studies the textbook can better understand the concepts well and apply that knowledge, or acquire the best, better skills and apply that skill to solve a particular problem. So that's what is the comment. Very similarly, once you have designed a course, an online course, then you are offering a course online under the Swayam platform, then it has to be evaluated. So definitely you will get a feedback, and you can incorporate those feedback if you found it more appropriate and well received. So then accordingly you fine tune it, and that's what is called the evaluation. So this is what is the e-learning process. So an overview of this process can be illustrated through the following diagram. Now look at here. Now first you have to analyze, then you have to design, then you have to develop, implement, and then evaluate. And this is the continuous process. And this is what is called ADDI model. A stands for analysis, D stands for design, and one more D stands for evaluation, right? So now look at here. To the next level of depth, what are these activities? So when it comes to analysis, what we need to analyze? So we need to analyze the needs, which allows the identification of general high-level course goals. As you all aware that, because you are all involved in NAC preparation team or NBA team, etc. So we need to understand, whenever we are offering a course, we need to understand the course outcome. When we are offering a particular program in an institution, we need to understand the program outcome. So program outcome, program specific outcome, and course specific outcome, etc. Means that after having studied this particular course, what you expect from the student, right? How that knowledge or the skill can be applied to solve a particular problem or to learn something new. So that's how we need to understand the high level course goals of that particular course. Then we need to understand the target audience analysis, which allows to identify the key characteristics of the learners, their past or the previous knowledge, right? You cannot offer a course for 10+2 students who are not at all familiar with, right, the subject or the past knowledge as such. Then you have to start from the scratch. Okay, so suppose if you are offering a course for postgraduate students or a program, then you should understand whether this subject has already been taught at the undergraduate program. If that is the case, what is the step, how you can what content needs to be delivered at the postgraduate level, right? So that's what is the previous knowledge and skills, the geographical provenance, learning context, and access to technology. So keep all these things in mind, and then you have to design. So this is the first step in understanding the e-learning process. So in continuation to this, now let's look at the design. Okay, so when it comes to design, formulating a set of learning objectives required to achieve the general high-level course objective. So for example, if you are offering a course on electronics, or you are offering a course on law, okay, so you are teaching something in the classroom, and how is that is fulfilled, right? So definitely for a student to understand the digital electronics, we should have a digital electronics laboratory. To understand a physics experiment on Newton's theory, then we should have an experiment. That's what is a laboratory setup for students to understand. So, but in an e-learning environment, how is that laboratory facilities are provided to the student? Okay, definitely in the form of simulations or virtual practical classes need to be provided, wherein the entire simulations will speak about the practical scenario and the students can understand the even practical aspects in virtual environment only. So even today, the technology is there, like augmented reality, where with augmented reality, you can even provide such a feel uh, a virtual environment to the student where he can feel and he can learn better. So that's what formulating a set of learning objectives required to achieve the general high level course objective. How to learn, that pedagogy need to be understood. Defining the order in which the objective should be achieved, the sequencing. So those faculties who have already obtained the doctoral degree or who are guiding doctoral students, so you have set up some research objectives in a proper sequence. Okay, this is the first objective and the second objective is related to the first objective, third objective is related to the second objective. So there is a sequence. Until and unless you finish off the first objective, you will not be able to draw conclusions and you can start with the next objective. So that's how defining the order in which the objective should be achieved is also very much important as a part of the design. Selecting instructional media evaluation and delivery strategies also very, very important. Because whenever we are assessing our student, it is not that we can just conduct an examination for 50 marks and we can ask the students to write some question, answer to some questions and just evaluate and we say whether the student has learned or not. And that is not the way we have to assess the students learning, right? So that UGC or NEP suggests that it should be continuous learning and evaluation. Students should be assessed at every level, and the evaluation should not be in one mode. It should be multi-mode, right? So that is, you have to interact with the students, like you should understand the vocabulary of the student, right? The technical knowledge what is acquired, the technical skills, the documentation skills, right? And even problem solving skills and creative ideas. All such things need to be taken into account while evaluating the students. The same thing is true even with this e-learning environment as well. Whenever we are offering a course, okay, so selecting instructional media, evaluation and delivery strategies, everything is very, very important. And based on that, we can understand how this course are offered. Okay, when it comes to the development, the content development means writing or collecting all the required knowledge and information. I already mentioned a good example, that is textbook writing. So before you write a textbook, you should understand what content need to be kept in the textbook in a particular chapter. Then you have to do a survey, right? If at all you want to write a very good textbook, then you have to do a survey. You might have read a similar textbooks of that particular subject, and then you have to understand what is the gap there and what need to be covered in your textbook or in a subsequent edition. So that's how writing or collecting all required knowledge and information is a part of the content development. And then storyboard development, like integrating instructional methods and media elements like images, text, interactions, assessment, tests, everything should be kept in the storyboard development. Because when a student is interacting online with the course what you have offered, then you have to provide all these facilities to the students to attend the classes online, right? Answer your questions online, assessment online, etc. So that's what is the storyboard development. And courseware development, which covers the developing media and interactive components, producing the course in a different formats for CD-ROM and web delivery, and integrating the content elements into a learning platform that learner can access. So definitely, if you are a author for a particular SWAYAM platform course, then you have to provide all these details. You have to made a provision for a student to access to the material in the form of CD, right, or in any other form, so that the students can access to it and you can learn. So with this, the implementation, the courseware is installed on a server and made accessible for learners. It also includes managing and facilitating learners' activities in instructor-led courses. I request the audience to mute. Okay. So when it comes to implementation, it includes managing and facilitating learners' activities in instructor-led courses. So let us assume that for your online course, some 50 students have enrolled across the country, and you are offering online course on the SWAYAM platform to the students. Then you have to accept the assignments written by the students or any form of activities, assessment activities like online test or essay type of test, right? Anything as such, because we are all familiar with Google Forms and other things. With all that, you can assess the students, right? And that's all about the implementation. I mean, in implementation, you have to include all such facilities. That's what is the idea. And next is the evaluation. An e-learning project can be evaluated for a specific evaluation purposes. Evaluation of learners' reactions, the achievement of learning objectives, the transfer of job-related knowledge and skills, and the impact of the project on the organization. Everything is accountable when it comes to evaluation. So whenever a course is offered or whenever a program is offered to the students, so after the graduation, so what job opportunities are ensured for the student if the student is very dedicated student and learned the course, right, to the maximum extent, and what job opportunities are assured for such a student. So very similarly, here also, whenever a course is offered online, so what is the benefit out of it? What objectives have been fulfilled, right? How the knowledge has been transferred for job-related skills, and also the impact of project on the organization, how that organization is benefited out of that particular project. So all these things are the points or parameters to be considered for evaluation. So this is what is the e-learning process. I hope many of you are already familiar with these things. Okay, maybe because many of you are already involved in textbook writing process, or you are involved in NAC evaluation process, right? And also you might have thought of offering a course online. The people, even the UG institution faculties can also offer a course on a SWAYAM platform as well. Okay, so for all such faculties or the interested people, I think you can easily understand and get some idea about this e-learning process. So with this, now let's look at some of the e-learning tools. Of course, many of these tools are already familiar to you. I did not give an explicit explanation for them, but I just covered them just for the sake of continuity and completeness. Okay. So email is one such e-learning tool where every teacher should have an email account for any correspondence or communications. And with that, they can communicate with students, with parents, and students can submit assignment, can have attachments as well, create a paperless environment, simple but effective, efficient, and also cost effective. And during our lockdown period, almost all of us have experienced conducting online classes, evaluating the students for one complete semester, right? But we have done it very effectively, where we conducted the classes online, we have conducted the examinations online, and the students have submitted their assignments, answer scripts online, we have evaluated. So everything happened with the support of this e-learning tool, that's email, right? So this is one common thing which we are all familiar. Then the chat, I already mentioned, it could be a Facebook or it could be a Twitter. Even now we are quite familiar with even the WhatsApp as well. So we can use all these tools for the purpose of chatting, which is a synchronous communication tool, which we can use to communicate to students, parents, and most students participate with the chat, and it's a collaborative learning. So I don't know how many of you are using this ResearchGate or LinkedIn, right, for sharing your views on a particular subject or a topic. Okay, but many people are quite familiar with the Facebook. They put a image or audio with a poll, Facebook, and they can get comments on that. Okay, so very similarly, we can have a collaborative learning with the Facebook as well. You can suppose if someone has some doubts on particular topic, they can post it, and the related people in that community who knows solution to that problem could answer that. Okay, so by doing so, you will learn something in a collaborative way, right? So that's what is the chat. Of course, this is also very much familiar to you. Then this is the online form. Maybe you are familiar, and I think few of you may not be familiar, but you just make an attempt that what online forms are there and how we can make use of it. So it's an asynchronous discussion form. So it doesn't require a real-time interaction. It can happen at any time according to your convenience. So it's an asynchronous discussion forum where teacher can create a discussion groups. Teacher could post a question and request students to comment. Students can post their comments, can encourage community participation. Collaborative learning can be fostered, and feedback from diverse culture. So all these things happens with this particular e-learning tool, that's online form. And then is the web. Is a wide range of materials available, because whenever we want any material, definitely we use a Google search. Okay, and we get material instantly. Okay, so even whenever you are preparing a PowerPoint presentation and whenever you want to get some information, we use Google search, or we just access a particular website or a portal. For example, you want to know what are the courses offered in University of Mysore, or what facilities are available in University of Mysore, or even the materials which are made available, accessible to all the students, maybe regulations or syllabus for a particular course, etc. You just use Google search or go to university website portal and access to the content which are available, and you can know more about the University of Mysore. Maybe on programs offered, the courses offered, the syllabus content, the teachers, and what are the various programs organized, conducted. Is made available to the interested people, and that's what is the tool web. Wide range of material available. Teacher will need to narrow down. It's a resource center, sharing of resources supported by images, audio, simulation, and multimedia. This is also quite familiar to each one of us. There is the video conference, can conduct a live lecture like the one we are doing right now. Communication with the students, communication with parents, support by audio, chat, and whiteboard. Support sharing of applications can be recorded and later be used for on-demand lectures and demo, etc. So whatever the lecture we are right now delivering can be recorded and can be delivered to the participants, and they can listen to it any number of times, anytime, anywhere, right? So that's what an example. So we are also quite familiar with this video conferencing. And then with these few of the tools, now let's understand the SWOT analysis. Because at the beginning itself, I mentioned that anything that is new, maybe technology or a product or a concept, definitely will have some impact that is maybe a positive or a negative, right? So we should always concentrate on the positive aspects of that. So accordingly, even when it comes to e-learning, it's always important for us to understand what's its strength, the weakness, opportunity, and the threat. And we call it as SWOT analysis. Now let's look at some of the points what I have recorded for this e-learning. The strength is ability to offer education to large number of students from distant locations, right? So it's already become evident to all of us. The distance is not at all a criteria for us now. It's a constraint for us. It's not at all a barrier. So we can offer education to a large number of students from a distant location. That is the strength. Education is more accessible to people with a limited financial resources. So definitely, if at all you want to travel to a particular place to get a particular education, right, then you have to pay a lot for your travel cost, for your accommodation, food, and everything. But if it is offered online with the same quality, then I think it's definitely of a lesser cost. That's why the limited financial resources we can provide the best with this e-learning. That's the strength. Less time commitment necessary for corporate students. So less time commitment because we can avoid traveling time and other times. So whenever there's a class sharp at 10 o'clock, we just log on at 10 o'clock. That's enough, right? Once the class is over by 12 o'clock, we just log out. That's over. So that's how the time can be effectively managed. Best instructors making best courses available to all. So many times I already mentioned that some institutions are known for some subjects. For example, if you take up an engineering colleges, so in Mysore we have, I think, roughly about 8 engineering colleges. Whenever you want to take a course like electronics and communication, then you will see which engineering college is best for electronics and communications in Mysore. Similarly, which college is best for computer science and engineering, and similarly mechanical, civil, and etc. So suppose if a student joins, right, a particular program, then that program has some n number of courses. We can't expect all the courses are offered by a very eminent and professional personalities, right? So if that is the case, then definitely we have to compromise with the quality in certain aspects, okay, because we are not affordable and it's not in physical environment. But when it comes to e-learning or online environment, definitely the best instructors making best courses available to all, right? So if there is a well-known person who speaks about law, a well-known person who speaks about economics, but he is not in our country, he is in abroad, in well-known university like Stanford University or Michigan State University or some other university, right? But how can we access to that person lecture? But e-learning is the solution to that. So that person's lecture can be recorded live, and that can be made available to all, right? So if there is a network failure, then definitely we can access to that person same instructions, right, on that particular topic. And that's what is the strength of e-learning. So now let's see what are the weakness, right? So when it comes to the weakness, a large commitment to technology needed from universities and corporations offering e-learning courses. So we have to invest much on the infrastructure, and there must be a commitment to technology. So if you don't provide such a required infrastructure, then it cannot be successful. Now let's look at here. I'm delivering lecture online, you are all listening to. Suppose if there is a network failure, then everything goes waste. It collapses because I cannot communicate with you, right? And that's what is the limitation, the constraint. But we should ensure that the network or the infrastructure facility, whatever that is expected for conducting a courses online, should be provided. And that requires a large commitment to a technology needed from universities and corporations offering e-learning courses. And then lack of face-to-face contact with the students. Of course, it is a point to be debated many times, because when students, suppose if you think that in future everything is online, how about the overall growth of the student? So definitely it's a limitation, right? Because a student sitting in front of a laptop or a mobile listening to online lectures all the time may definitely affects the health and of course the vision as well, because we cannot always spend your time watching the screen on laptop and learn something. So that is not advisable as far as our physical activity is concerned, right? So and of course there's an environment. For example, if a student goes to school and there is a fellow teachers along with them, and that environment is something different from this environment. So definitely we have to accept that, right? There is a lack of face-to-face contact with the students, and we cannot provide such a lively environment with this online or e-learning, right? So of course we can accept that as a limitation, but I also mentioned that it should be taken in some other way, right? If I know how to use it, then I think we can make best out of it. So then the current technology does not support a low cost, high bandwidth, synchronous student teacher interaction. So a decade back, when it comes to internet, right, we were not that affordable and comfortable. Only few corporates or the people who knows technology were using internet, and they used to get facilities with that technology. But now today internet has become very cheap and very common, right? Even a person who's in the footpath, who grows, who sells vegetables and all, he also have a mobile with an internet connectivity. You can find out the prices of various commodities and various prices for various vegetables and all. Okay, so that's how the technology has grown, advanced. Maybe in future also you can get a better such infrastructure facilities, and we get definitely in terms of internet connectivity, the speed, and the other facilities can definitely improve with the advancements in science and technology. So high bandwidth, synchronous student teacher interaction, if everything is made more affordable, then I think this will become a de facto standard, right? Whenever there is a convenient, you can use it. That's all. So that's how. But today, with this context, this we can say it's a limitation or a weakness. But when it comes to opportunity, ability to reach the world instantaneously with the latest news and technology. Now look at here. In earlier days, when we were watching, when we were reading only newspapers, and when we were watching only listening to radio news and all, we were not able to get the news instantaneously. Maybe after or 2 days or 3 days, we used to hear, oh, this happened, that happens, etc., etc. But now it's not like that. If something happens in USA or UK, in Australia, next few seconds it will reach your WhatsApp, right? Okay, so that's what is the speed at which we now access to the entire globe. So because of this technology, so anything can reach instantaneously with latest news and technologies. That's what is the ability. Then ability to train sales force and employees about a product advancements. Of course, this not only this product and all, even for courses offered by various institutions. Suppose if an institution is offering a new course, then definitely there should be an advertisement, because the people must know what course is offered, what are the benefits of that particular course. Because recently I heard that many engineering colleges have started artificial intelligence and data science programs, like SJ College of Engineering, Vidyavardhaka College of Engineering, and even many other engineering colleges have offered a course on data science, artificial intelligence. Okay, so whenever they are offering such a new program, then definitely there must be a kind of advertisement, right? How you can do advertisement? Of course, this platform can be used as an advertisement, where you can popularize the program, and you can train the force and employees about the product advancements and all. And that's what is the opportunity. Access to courses from varieties of university. This has already been mentioned and discussed about. Okay, so you can access to the courses from varieties of university. Okay, for example, let us assume that the 6 different universities are offering 6 different unique courses with the top or most experts. Then a student can offer such a course offered by all the universities, and he can get a greater knowledge, because each course is offered by respective universities, which are very, very proficient and delivered by top class experts. And that's what is the opportunity. And decrease long-term education expenses by shifting learning programs to the web. Okay, for example, now you see, if a student wants to complete an engineering degree with this current setup and a fee structure, I think a student, if at all he has to learn an engineering complete engineering program like SJ College of Engineering or any College of Engineering, so definitely the cost of such program will be not less than 10 lakhs for 4 years. And similarly, if it is a medical program, then definitely it is definitely much more than 50 lakhs, or even sometimes goes beyond the crore. Okay, so definitely it is only for 4 years. Then what about the lifelong learning? So you cannot think of it. But with the support of this e-learning platform, definitely you can reduce the long-term education expenses. Okay, and you can shifting learning programs to the web. Let us assume that you are already a graduate in a particular subject or a discipline, but you want to know much more about that in the similar directions, right? Future avenues. Then you can shift from traditional to online or e-learning. So with this, your cost or expense can be reduced, and still you can learn, and it's a lifelong learning process. So that's what is the opportunity. Now let's look at some points on threat. Lack of student interest. There is again an ambiguity on this particular point. Sometimes we say that there is an interest. We can motivate the students and we can create interest in the students through online e-learning, etc. But at the same time, we say that there is a lack of student interest. So what is this dilemma, right? So definitely a lot of comments need to be, and comments are there on this particular point. At one point of time, we say students can be motivated, and it's a pull approach, means the student can accept it, and with an interest, the student can study something. But on the other end, we say it's a lack of student interest. But here, what is important is the student's mindset. Okay, if a student is really interested to study something, or if you have oriented that student and motivated the student, then definitely the student will be in a positive direction, right? Otherwise, sometimes the student may lose interest because there is no moderator and there is no instructor. Okay, so there is no one to properly channelize him as such. So if that is the case, there are certain cases where the students may lose interest, and that's how a lack of student interest is one of the threat, but we need to handle it in a very wise way. Equipment and technology requirement restrict adoption of learning. But definitely, if a student could not buy a mobile or a laptop, or could not get an access to internet, so then such students will be denied from such opportunities. Okay, so that's one of the threat. But if there are certain initiations by the government or any such responsible institutions, okay, which have an objective of serving the society, so if such institutions or the government projects will help the public and set up such a technical requirement or technology requirements, and if that is supported, then definitely even a poor and a common man can make use of that facility. That's one of the threat at present, but maybe in future we can overcome this. Lack of human interaction deters the learning process. Again, it's a dilemma. There is a debatable question. Okay, sometimes we say it helps, and sometimes we say human interaction. But I think in this context, I think we can go with a blended learning. So that may make use of the advantages of traditional as well as e-learning platform, and minimizes the limitations of both the methods. Okay, that's how we can overcome that particular problem. Most corporate instructor-led courses last 4 to 5 days. Comprehensive coverage of some topics could be lost in a shorter e-course. Of course, it all depends on how you have designed the course, because many times we say a course is offered only for a week and the required knowledge has been given to the student. So that may be wrong sometimes. Okay, so it doesn't matter how long you can continue the course, right? Depending upon its demand and the need, you can just extend the course timings, and you can deliver whatever that's required at that level of detail and the depth for that particular level of students. Okay, that is at your hand. It's not at all a threat, but it can be managed in an intelligent way, right? So these are some of the points related to the SWOT analysis of e-learning. So with this, now let's look at some of the top e-learning companies in India. I think a few of these companies are already familiar to you, because whenever you are watching news or any programs, in between in advertisements, you can see the Byju's online classes, right, etc. So Byju is one of the top e-learning companies in India, which is headquartered in Bangalore, India. Byju's boasts to receive the first investment in Asia from Chang Zuckerberg Initiative. And this education technology and online tutoring firm has created a K-12 learning smartphone app that offers highly effective, adaptive, and engaging learning programs. And these programs not only serve school students, but also train students for various competitive exams such as IIT, JEE, CAT, GRE, IAS, and many more. I hope many of you are already familiar with this Byju's company. Another is Dexler Education, very similar to Byju's. So it's founded in 2001, and it's again is headquartered in Bangalore, India. And this education provides a customized industry-based education solutions to corporate learning. talent management, and enhanced end user adoption. The company majorly deals with digitizing education and education consulting. Their competencies lie in fields such as ecosystem, technological and language. With its innovative learning solutions for the learners and organizations, the company successfully ranks among the top e-learning companies in India. So similarly, we have many other like EduCamp solutions, and then like IGNO, NIIT, EduCard, Simply Learn, GS Learning, uh, Merit Nation, Excel Soft. So all are these the top e-learning companies in India. So with this, let's look at some of the e-learning platforms. So MOOCs stands for Massive Online Open Courses. This is one of the e-learning platform where MOOCs offer. That's a Coursera or a Future Learn. So these are the platform where MOOCs courses are delivered. So another is virtual learning environment, VLE, such as Learn or Blackboard. So here Coursera, Future Learn, this Learn and Blackboard, there are the platform names which supports this MOOCs courses and also virtual learning environment. The another one is video streaming services such as YouTube. You're all familiar, right? And recently, whenever a new education policy is adopted in Karnataka, right, or introduced, many faculties have searched and many videos have been streamed in YouTube, and all of us have watched those YouTube videos. Okay, so that's how we try to understand about what exactly is the NEP, what are its implications, how to implement it, and what are the difficulties in implementations, and etc., right? That's how the experts have given their views and their analysis. Accordingly, we try to understand that. So that's how we are all familiar with YouTube and virtual instructor led training like WebEx and webinars, which is also familiar, and discussion boards like Facebook and WhatsApp, again familiar. Forums like LinkedIn and ResearchGate, many of you are quite familiar. Podcast, that is a recorded program of talk, music, etc. That's also familiar to you. And this lecture can be recorded and made available to all participants. Maybe we can keep this recorded video in a university website under HRDC blog, and that can be accessed by all participants anywhere, anytime. So that's how we can provide a facility. And when it comes to e-learning platform, particularly the MOOCs, okay, because the theme of this workshop is MOOCs online and open sources, I just want to share a few points with this. MOOCs are online courses with video content. They enable large number of participants to learn from top universities around the world. Suppose if you look at our SWAYAM platform, particularly with our university, okay, there is a coordinator for a SWAYAM platform, and I think almost 48, I believe, maybe more than that. Courses are offered online. Any student who is studying in any undergraduate program or postgraduate program can opt that particular program or a course online, earn credits, and make use of those credits for his regular program, right? So that's how MOOC supports such a facility to all our students. So MOOCs are online courses with video content. They enable a large number of participants to learn from top universities around the world. MOOCs are modern online courses for many participants at the same time. Hence, it is called massive. Without access restriction, that's what is called open. And in a course format with video lectures and integrated tests. So that's how it is called as MOOCs, right? Massive open online course. So MOOCs were created from the idea of covering an entire university course online and thereby making it accessible to everyone in the world. That's what is the major objective of the MOOCs. The intent was to democratize educational content from allied universities, because many universities are known for certain topics and expertises, and we can make the entire world accessible and affordable to such elite universities, and that is possible with MOOCs platform. And when it comes to some of the companies other platforms which supports MOOCs are Udemy. You can get huge varieties of courses, 30-day refund policy, and free certificates of completion. And Udacity, nano degree program suitable for enterprises, paid certificates of completion. And DataCamp, free certificates of completion focused on data science skills, flexible learning timetable. And edX, university level courses suitable for enterprises, paid certificates of completion. And Coursera, professional certificates, university level courses, online degree programs, and Skillshare, real-time projects, 30-day refund policy, free courses available, LinkedIn Learning, business-related courses, integration with LinkedIn, professionally made interface. Khan Academy, adapted for early education, like for standard and etc. Right, and suitable for parents or kids, and has test preparation material as well. So these are some of the platforms where MOOCs are made possible. So with all this general discussion and content on MOOCs, online e-learning and all, I would like to give you some points as a summary to wind up this session.